Bienvenidos a Español 2, estudiantes. This is lesson 10.2a. That's chapter 10, lesson 2a. We're going to start off this lesson by reviewing some of the homework, la tarea, that you may have done last night. Let's take a look at that. Go ahead and get your red pens out. Let's mark any corrections that you have in red. Marking it in red makes sure that you can go back later and take a look at your corrections and know what it is that you need to work on, study, look up, focus on, so that you don't make those same mistakes again. In your workbooks, El Cuaderno, page 175, you have the vocabulary exercise. The directions say to complete each statement with an appropriate vocabulary term. Número 1, Margarita necesita comprar pan. Margarita needs to buy bread. Va a la panadería. Va comes from our verb ir, which is to go. You remember the conjugations of the verb ir. Voy, vas, va, vamos, van. We have the conjugation for va because the subject is Margarita. Margarita goes. Margarita va a la panadería. From our vocab list, panadería is a bread store or a bakery. Pan is the word for bread, and the ria or ia word at the letters at the end tell you that this is a place. So if you break the word down, you'll see pan at the beginning, which tell us that word tells us that it is a dealing with bread, and then the ia at the end tells us that it's a place. So this is a place that sells bread. Número 3. Miguel quiere comprar un anillo de compromiso. Miguel wants to buy an engagement ring. Va a la, the word is joyería. Joyería is a jewelry store. Número 5. Tito quiere regalarle un juego a su hermanito. Tito wants to give a toy to his little brother. Va a la juguetería. Juguete, there at the beginning, is another word for toy, and the ia tells us that this is a place. So we have juguetería, a place that sells toys. Número 7. Oscar necesita una copia de una llave. Va a la cerrajería. Oscar needs a copy of a key. Va a la cerrajería, or the locksmith. Cerrar is the word that we use for to close or to lock, and cerrajería then would be, we would say, a locksmith or a key store or a lock store. Número 9. Andrea invita a su amiga a comer un helado. Andrea invites her sister or her friend to eat some ice cream. Van a la heladería. They go to the ice cream store. Remember that helado is the word for ice cream, so heladería would be a place where you get ice cream, or we would say an ice cream parlor or an ice cream store. Another thing I wanted to point out here in número 9, did you notice that the conjugation was van? That is because it is both Andrea and her amiga that are going, so we had a plural subject. You'll notice the others that we've done, we've had a singular subject, so it was va. For 1, 3, 5, y 7, we had va a la and then the place. Número 9 was a little bit different. Van a la heladería. If you have questions on these, let me know. Make sure you've got any mistakes marked so that you can go back and look those up and fix those. Let's continue by saying our verse together. Our verse for chapter 10 is Juan 4:34, John 4:34. Let's say that together, clase. Juan 4:34. Jesús les dijo, mi comida es que haga la voluntad del que me envió y que acabe su obra. Juan 4:34. Make sure you're reviewing that verse. That will show up on our test for chapter 10. So make sure that you're familiar enough with it to be able to fill in blanks to get the verse correct. Let's see if we can identify some of the words that might be missing here in the verse. Look carefully. What word is missing from the verse? The answer is B, voluntad. Here, what word is missing? ¿Cuál palabra nos falta? The answer is acabe, acabe, to finish. ¿Cuál palabra nos falta aquí? La palabra es haga, haga, to do. Y aquí, ¿cuál palabra nos falta? es les. Les there is the indirect object pronoun that tells us who Jesus said it to. The phrase there at the beginning of the verse, Jesús les dijo, Jesus said to them, or Jesus told them. It's the object pronoun. And then the last one. ¿Cuál palabra nos falta? La respuesta es comida. Comida is food or meal. Comida. We've been talking about two cities to the southern portion of Spain, Córdoba y Granada. Historically speaking, these two cities illustrate a lot of the Moorish influence that came from northern Africa in AD 711. So it's a long, long time ago, but when the Moors came north from Africa, they brought a lot of certainly they brought their religion, so they brought the Muslim religion with them, but they also contributed greatly to Spain's culture, commerce, agriculture, their learning, their architecture. So a lot of the southern Spain culture is reflected, it contains a lot of Moorish or Muslim influence there because of all the way back to AD 711. The city is probably most famous for the mezquita. Mezquita was a mosque that was later turned into a cathedral. It has over 1,000 granite, onyx, marble, and jasper pillars. So it's a big tourist attraction as well as a claim to fame for the city of Córdoba. The refrán for this lesson is one that we're probably very familiar with. La práctica hace al maestro. Practice makes perfect. We would say practice makes perfect in English. The literal translation would be La práctica hace al maestro. Practice makes the master or the teacher. La práctica hace al maestro. Anything worth doing is going to be hard work. Maybe Spanish too is hard work for you. It's worth doing though. Give it your best shot. Practice will make you excellent, a master at it. Let's review our countries and our capitals here. Let me get myself out of the way. And we can look and drill these really quickly. Remember, as we go through these, you need to remember la bandera, the flag for each country, as well as its location on the map and the capital of the country. You say it before I reveal the answer, clase. ¿Cuál es la capital de Cuba? La Habana. ¿Cuál es la capital de Panamá? Panamá. ¿Cuál es la capital de Chile? Santiago. ¿Cuál es la capital de Uruguay? Es Montevideo. ¿Cuál es la capital de Paraguay? Es Asunción. ¿Cuál es la capital de Guatemala? Esto es muy fácil. La capital es Guatemala. ¿Cuál es la capital de Honduras? Es Tegucigalpa. ¿Cuál es la capital de El Salvador? Es tan fácil. San Salvador. ¿Cuál es la capital de Nicaragua? La respuesta es, clase, Managua, Nicaragua. ¿Y cuál es la capital de Costa Rica? La capital es San Jose. Let's take just a moment here. We are at las direcciones, the dialogue in your textbook. This is on página 262, 262. I'd like you to take just a moment. I'm going to let you listen to the recording here. You follow along in your textbook on page 262, 262, as we listen to this dialogue being read.
Capítulo 10, lección 2. Las direcciones. Parte 1. Diálogo.
Follow along on page 262 of the textbook.
David necesita unos materiales especiales para un proyecto de arte. Su profesor le ha mandado a una ferretería en el centro de la ciudad. David se baja del autobús en la estación de la avenida Lope de Vega y la calle Borges y decide pedir direcciones.
Permiso, señor. Estoy buscando una ferretería cerca de aquí. ¿Podría indicarme cómo encontrarla?
Pues no estoy seguro, pero sí le diré que no siga por esta calle. Esta es una calle sin salida. Buenas tardes.
Pobre David, no recibió mucha ayuda. Él llega a una verdulería y le pregunta a una señora que ve en la esquina.
Señora, ¿me podría decir cómo llegar a la ferretería, por favor?
¿Cómo dice?
Que si sabe usted dónde está la ferretería.
Ah, sí. Doble a la derecha en la avenida Lope de Vega. Siga por una cuadra. Cruzando la calle, encontrará la heladería en la esquina.
David llega a la heladería y por fin encuentra a un policía adentro.
Con permiso, señor. Estoy buscando la ferretería. ¿Sabría usted decirme dónde está?
Sí, cómo no. Doble a la derecha en la avenida Lope de Vega y camine 2 cuadras hasta la calle Cervantes. Allí en la esquina está la ferretería.
Gracias, señor. Pase buenas tardes.
Okay, I hope as you were looking through that, you noticed not only some of our vocabulary terms from this lesson, but also some of the grammar that we've been going over as well. Look through that in your textbook. Make marks. Jot some words down that you recognize. Maybe you see some words that you don't know. Write those down as well. Look those up and add those to your notes so that you are understanding the basic idea of this dialogue. He's looking for directions. And let's see all the different things that he does as he's trying to find his way to his destination. Let's go ahead and take a look at our vocab words, our vocabulario for esta lección. We're on página 262 y 263. El vocabulario de esta lección, hacia allá, go toward there, or going that way. Caminar is to walk. Caminar 2 cuadras is to walk 2 blocks. So the verb caminar means to walk, and then cuadras is a word for blocks or city blocks. Cruzar la calle is to cross the street. Cruzar meaning to cross, and la calle being the street. Doblar is to turn. And then a la izquierda, that's a good one. A la izquierda is the word for to the left. A la derecha is to the right. Ir, again, there's our verb ir, to go. En dirección contraria, to go in the contrary or opposite direction. Seguir derecho, to go straight ahead. And then some interesting information here for you. If you don't remember from math class, una milla, 1 mile, is equal to 1.6 kilómetros. Una milla es igual a 1,6 kilómetros. Remember that number. We're continuing looking at the different stores that we would find in a downtown area. You have many of those here. I want to remind you again, and we've talked about this, but the idea is that you can tell what kind of store you're dealing with based on what the word is, especially the beginning portion of the word. Let's look at the store, la tienda la carnicería. La carnicería, we know that the word carne is, what is it? It's meat. So carne, and we see that ia at the end, that tells us that this is a place where we would get what? Carne, or meat. So carnicería is a butcher or a meat store. And all of these stores work the same way. If we look at letra O, la relojería. Relojería, reloj is, it's a watch or a clock. And the ia at the end tells us that it's a place. So relojería would be a place where you buy a watch. Make sure that you are reviewing those vocabulary words and you're knowing those for our quiz as well. Let's take a look at our grammar for today. In your textbooks, we're on page 264, and we're still continuing our study of the imperative, el imperativo, or the command form. On this lesson, this part of the lesson, we'll be talking about the negative form of usted and ustedes. Now remember, usted and ustedes are the third person singular and the third person plural form, literally you and you all. The negative commands, the nice thing is, the negative commands and the affirmative commands are conjugated the same way. We just have to add the word no at the beginning to make it negative. It really couldn't be any simpler than that. Let's review the way that we form the usted and ustedes command. Remember, let's look at the first one. We've got the verb cantar here. And remember, in order to get the usted conjugation, the usted command or ustedes command form, we go to the yo form first. So what is the yo form of the verb cantar? The answer is canto. Once we have that yo form, we eliminate the ending and we're left with the stem cant. Then we have to look back at what our original verb ending was, the infinitive ending, and it was AR. Since it was AR, we are going to use the E set of endings in the command form, which then means that for the usted and ustedes form of the verb, for the command, we are looking at A or N. A being for ustedes, A being for usted, and N being for ustedes. So the command form for cantar, and you can see it right here, would be cante. For the ustedes form, it would be canten. To make it negative, like I said, you just add the no at the beginning. No cante. Don't sing tan fuerte. No cante tan fuerte. Don't sing so loud. You can see on the second example here with the verb haga, it's important that we go through that yo form, guys. You have to have the yo form so that you can catch any irregularities in the conjugation. And this verb hacer or haga is a very good example of those irregulars that you've got to watch out for. So we have the verb hacer, which means to make or to do, and that's what we see right here in this sentence. And remember, what is the regular yo form for hacer? It is hago. What's the next step? Now that we know that it's hago, we eliminate the ending. Once we've eliminated the ending, we look at the original ending and we do the opposite. Since it's an ER verb, we are going to use A and AN, or A and AN, to make the usted and the ustedes command. That is where we get the no haga. We add the A, or for ustedes, the AN, and we get no haga eso. Don't do that. No haga eso. If we wanted to make it affirmative, haga eso. Do that. No haga eso. Don't do that. Remember, the affirmative and the negative are the same for the usted and ustedes form in Spanish. The next one we have is insistir. No insistan en salir ahora. No insistan en salir ahora. Don't insist on leaving right now. No insistan. And you may say, how did you know that it was insistir? Well, I know that this is commanding, don't leave right now. And since I see an AN conjugation, I know my verb is insistir. Insistir. The yo form is what? Regular yo form is insisto. I eliminate the ending. Since it's IR, I'm going to use A or AN. And since it's ustedes, I'm going to go with AN. It's a terrible A there. Insistan or no insistan. All right. Not too complicated. The last one is a little bit irregular as well, but we have ir, which is voy. The regular yo form for ir is voy. Now remember, when we see those OY endings, we know that it's very irregular. So for this one, you really just have to memorize and remember that it's vaya and vayan. And again, it's the same for the affirmative and negative for the usted and ustedes form. Vaya, no vaya, vayan, no vayan. Let's practice this a little bit. In your libros, página 264, actividad 1. The students in Spanish class wrote some rules for the classroom, but they left the verbs in the infinitive. Please write the imperative in the ustedes form. So there's no question here what form you need to do these. The form is the ustedes, so it will be that form that ends in the N. Let's look at the modelo together. No llegar tarde. The answer is right there for you. No lleguen tarde. Now you may look at that and say, where did that U come from in the middle of the word? I hope you know where that U came from. This is a spell changer. No lleguen tarde. We've talked about those before. Remember, when you have a G in Spanish, in a Spanish verb that is going to be followed by a U, my bad, that is not correct. When you have a G that is followed by an E, that E will cause that G to make what we would say in English is an H sound, the sound. And we want to keep the sound of the infinitive, llegar, llegar. In order to keep this E, this letter A, this E, from making that G soft into the H sound, we add that U to get G. And that's where we get lleguen. So be careful with those spell changers. We see those all throughout Spanish conjugations where we have to check and make sure that those are conjugated the right way. So let's look at número uno. We'll do número uno together. No tirar papeles en el piso. So what we need to say is don't throw papers on the floor. Don't throw papers on the floor. We know we're doing the ustedes form. The directions told us to do the ustedes form. So we need to take the verb tirar. We need to conjugate it in the regular yo form. What is the regular yo form of the verb tirar, clase? It is tiro. Now, the first step that we need to do, again, is to eliminate that ending, right? Then we look back, we see that it's an AR verb, so we need to add our E endings to it. Since we know it's ustedes, we know the answer is tiren. Now, of course, it's negative, so the answer is going to be no tiren papeles en el piso. No tiren papeles en el piso. And make sure that you are doing this step, kids. Make sure you are going to that yo form in the regular present indicative first. Remember, we have sometimes irregular yo conjugations. As a matter of fact, as you're doing these practice in just a second, number 3 is one of those where you are going to have some irregular yo conjugation, and that will change the way that you form the imperative. So check carefully. Make sure that you are going to that yo form first. I'm going to clean up my board here. I want you guys to go ahead and pause the video, and I'd like you to do the odds here. Número 3, 5, 7. Número 3, 5, y 7. Go ahead and write those out in your workbook in Spanish. And pause the video, and then we'll check those in just a second. Okay, I hope you got those done. I hope you got them correct. Listen very carefully. I will read them to you, and you check your answers. Remember to mark any corrections in red so that you can go back and check your answers later. Número 3. No pongan los pies en los pupitres. Did you get that one? The yo form for poner is pongo. So we get pongan. No pongan los pies en los pupitres. Don't put your feet on the desks. Número 5. No escriban en las paredes. No escriban en las paredes. Don't write on the walls. Número 7. No hablen inglés en la clase. No hablen inglés en la clase. Don't speak English in the class. If you have any questions on this activity, you don't know why you missed what you missed, let me know, and we'll go through it together. As we continue in the lesson today, we're going to continue talking about the imperative, but we're going to talk about the negative form of the verb, of the form for tu. Remember, tu means you, but it is the informal. This is the form that you would use for friends, people that you know by first name, close friends, family. And to form the negative tu command, again, we do that same type of process. We go to the yo form of the present tense. For AR verbs, we're going to add what? ES. And for ER and IR verbs, we're going to add AS. So it's that same flip-flop that we did for the usted and the ustedes form, but instead of E or EN, we are going to be adding ES. And instead of A or AN, we are going to be adding AS to the ending. And this is the same process that we just did on the other page, guys. Hablar, we go to the yo form, hablo, we eliminate the O, we're left with the stem hable, and then because it's an AR verb, we use the ES ending. No hables con chicle en la boca. Don't talk with gum in your mouth. Now, be careful. Notice here that this is the way we form the negative command for tu. That familiar or informal form in Spanish, the tu form, the affirmative and the negative commands are different. This is not the way we would conjugate the affirmative command. This is the negative command. So we are telling this person in this sentence, we are saying, no hables con chicle en la boca. Don't talk with gum in your mouth. It would be different conjugation for the verb altogether if we were telling them talk with gum in your mouth. We would say, habla con chicle en la boca. It would be a different conjugation altogether. That's not what we're talking about on this slide. But remember that for the tu form, the affirmative and the negative are different. Let's look at the next example that's on this slide. We have beber, to drink. Remember, we go to the yo form, no bebo. We eliminate the ending, the o. We're left with beb, and then because it's an ER verb, we add the AS to form the negative to command. And again, this is the familiar. No bebas tantas sodas. Don't drink so many sodas. Now, again, I want to point out this irregular one to you. This is a good example. We won't go all the way through this one. This is a good example for you, though, because it, again, points out the importance of going to the yo form. Because you may have an irregularity in the conjugation in the yo form of the verb. Just like with venir, to come, the yo form is vengo. It's important to go to the yo form, otherwise we would not get that stem, veng, that we need to create the negative verb, no vengas, don't come, no vengas. So be careful, and remember, you've got to build from the yo form. Okay. Having said that, there are some that are irregular. If when you are checking what that yo form is, you find that the yo form ends in oy, you won't use it. Look at the verb dar. Dar means what, clase? To give. The yo form is doy, I give. When you see that oy, just let that be a reminder to you that you will not use the yo form to form the negative to command. We need to memorize that the negative to command is no des. No me des tanto helado. Don't give me so much ice cream. So these are just irregular. Again, these are the negative to commands that will not use the yo form. And almost all of them, a good clue, is that they end in oy in the regular yo form. Dar, to give. Doy, I give. Estar, to be, as in what? Location and condition. Estar, to be. Estoy, I am. Ser, to be. Soy, I am. Ir, to go. Voy, I go. So if they end in the oy in the yo form, then we know that we have a list that has got to be memorized. No des, don't give. No estés, don't be. No seas, don't be. The last one, no vayas, don't go. And then the last one that we have to memorize here is saber. Saber is to know, as in facts and information. The yo form, again, is irregular. It's se with that accent mark, and we won't use that to form the negative to command. It's sep. So no sepas tanto, niño, no sepas. Let's practice these a little bit. Actividad 2 on página 265, 265 in your textbook. Actividad 2. Luisa is looking after her neighbor's mischievous daughter. She's becoming impatient with the girl. Play the role of Luisa. So let's look at the modelo together. And again, we've talked about these spell changes. Be very careful as we go through these and make sure that you are checking these irregular spellings that will come through. And we'll explain them as we get to it because we've got a good one right here in the model. No tocar la planta. Don't touch the plant. Now, tocar means to touch. In the context of an instrument, tocar can mean to play. Yo toco la trompeta. I touch the trumpet. But in this, or I play the trumpet. But in this modelo, it's yo tocar la planta. It actually means to physically touch something. No toques la planta is the answer. Let's talk about how we got to that answer. I want to break down the verb tocar for us just a little bit. We have tocar, and I want you to pay attention to the sound of that letter C or se en el infinitivo. El sonido es k, tocar, tocar. That consonant sound needs to be maintained even as we conjugate the verb. When we conjugate it in the present indicative, it's not a big deal. It stays the same all the way through. You know this conjugation. Yo toco, tú tocas, usted toca, él toca, ella toca. Nosotros tocamos, ustedes tocan, ellos, ellas tocan. So that stays without any spell change. When we get into the command, like we're talking about today, we are flip-flopping these endings. AR verbs are going to get E's at the end. By changing that to an E, we create a bit of a problem because a word that has an E after the C, that C will then become soft and it would say S, and we don't want that. We want to maintain the sound of the infinitive. So when we add that E The yo form of this verb is toco, forming the command here. Remember, we eliminate the ending. We're left with tok, tok. We want to keep that sound of tok. We need to add the opposite of AR, which would be yes. But if I did it just like that, if I just did toses, or I should say, would rather say no toses, that doesn't keep the sound because that ES after makes that C soft, makes it say toses. That doesn't work. We've got to keep the t sound. How do we do that? We change that C to a QU. Then we have toques, or we would say no toques. And that is exactly where we got the answer on the previous page. No toques. Don't touch. Don't touch. No toques. Don't touch. And you see that right here in the modelo. No toques la planta. All of that work to go from this sentence, or this group of words, to that sentence. No toques la planta. Don't touch the plant. All right, so let's do número uno together, since the answer isn't there for us. No jugar en la cocina. Don't play in the kitchen. No jugar en la cocina. Now we know we're doing the to form. That's what we're talking about. We need the negative to form. So don't play in the kitchen. Again, we start with the yo form. We start with the yo form of the verb jugar. The yo form of the verb jugar is, what is it? It's juego. And again, it is very important, guys, to get that yo form right because that helps me know what my stem is. I'm eliminating the ending. I'm left with the stem jueg. Since it's an AR verb, I know for my negative 2 I'm going to use ES. So I am left then with no. There's my stem, jueg. I got that from here. And I need to use the ES. No. Well, there's a problem here. Again, because G followed by E says and I want to keep the sound of that infinitive. Jueg, jueg. So I need to add that U back in here. So the answer then is no juegues. No juegues. Don't play. No juegues en la cocina. Don't play in the kitchen. No juegues en la cocina for número uno. I'd like you to go ahead, pause the video. I'd like you to do 3, 5, 7, y 9. 3, 5, 7, y 9. Do these. Go ahead and write the whole frase, the whole sentence out in el cuaderno. Find some space in your workbook and do 3, 5, 7, y 9. Okay, I hope you've got those done correctly. I'm going to go ahead and read the answers to you. Check your answers again. As always, mark your corrections in red. That way you can go back through and you know what to ask questions about later if you don't know why you missed what you missed. Número 3. No comas tantos dulces. No comas tantos dulces. Don't eat so many sweets. Número 5. No vayas a la casa del vecino. No vayas a la casa del vecino. Don't go to the neighbor's house. Número 7. Número 7. No pongas los pies en el sofá. No pongas los pies en el sofá. Maybe you hear that at home. Don't put your feet on the couch, on the sofa. No pongas. Remember that one had the irregular yo form, right, guys? The irregular yo form for poner is pongo. And that's where we got the stem pong that we would need to use to create the negative command no pongas los pies en el sofá. And then número 9. No corras en la casa. It was nice to end with an easy one there. That's just the regular yo form corro. Then switch the ER to an AS. No corras en la casa. Don't run in the house. All right. As we wrap things up for this lesson today in Spanish 2, let's go back through el versículo otra vez, juntos clase, together, with the reference before and after. Clase. Juan 4:34. Jesús les dijo, mi comida es que haga la voluntad del que me envió y que acabe su obra. Juan 4:34. And that concludes another amazing Spanish lesson. Be sure to check the lesson plans for tonight's assignment so that you can get that done. Que Dios les bendiga.